Hello, and welcome to the video. Firstly, brief channel update. I know it's been a while since my last video, and for good reason. Honestly, kind of got burnt out on YouTube, on uploading YouTube videos for a while, and I actually restarted college last year to get a programming degree. Still in college, gonna be restarting again later next month, actually, in August. And, but yeah, YouTube's kind of fallen on the back burner for me, so. Anyway, short update, onto the rest of the video. So, Halo Infinite. I, honestly, kind of on the fence still, given Halo 5's history and stuff. But, looking forward to it. And this particular video, will be kind of my speculation and prediction, basically my thoughts on Halo Infinite, and we'll be finding out on July 23rd with the Xbox event. I will be starting off with what I consider to be the most realistic predictions, what I think is actually going to happen. So, what I realistically think we'll see at the event is as follows. Firstly, I do believe we'll be seeing a live gameplay event of both, or live gameplay of both the campaign mode and of the multiplayer. Given the promise of a beta before launch, there is the possibility of either a announcement or even, hey, open beta now, and that sort of thing. Given that the Halo 5 actually had the beta in the early part of the year of that it launched. The beta for Halo Infinite, if we are going to have one, it'll probably come immediately after this event. Aside from that, I mean, we'll learn campaign details and what the main story will be, or maybe not the main story, but certain details that we've been a lot speculating upon, such as the fact that the Banished are going to be in here. That's the cats. For other speculation, I've seen people consider the possibility of human enemies in Halo Infinite, and while it is technically a possibility, because both the Banished and the Created could have possible human forces in it, given the teaser trailer mentioned humanity as a whole, and that fighting humans has never been a thing in Halo, I highly doubt it, personally. We do know that there'll be the Banished. However, another rumor that I've heard people talk about is the inclusion of the Flood. I would love to see the Flood. I think it would make for a great story and gameplay twist somewhere in the game. However, I doubt we'll actually see the Flood in this game. It might be teased at the end of the game, but I doubt we'll actually see the Flood. But we'll see. As far as gameplay goes, as much as I want to see a return of the more traditional classic gameplay from the original trilogy, Halo 1 through 3, given modern gaming climate and stuff, I highly doubt. It's very much likely that Sprint will be an inclusion in the gameplay. Whether armor abilities or Spartan abilities or something else similar to that effect will be included, we'll have to wait and see. I myself hope for a return of dual wielding to the formula, but I doubt it. The inclusion of the Banished, however, will see a return of Brutes as an enemy in gameplay, and I'm kind of curious to see how they handle those. I wonder if they're going to go for kind of a mixture of the Halo 2 kind of bullet spongy aggressive enemies and the Halo 3 lesser elites, to be perfectly honest. Brutes in Halo 3 were perfectly fun to fight, but they definitely didn't provide the same challenge as high-ranking elites did in previous Halo games. The fact that the Banished will have elites in their forces will be very interesting. It would actually be really cool if the kind of elites had the standard energy shields, you know, normal game gunplay, and then you had brutes who are big, hulking, heavily armored beasts that you then have to like tear down their armor first before you can get to actually start hurting them physically. That would actually be kind of interesting. Think Darknuts from Legend of Zelda Wind Waker or Twilight Princess. You had to tear apart their armor and then you could hit their flesh, that sort of thing. Given the rumors, because none of this has ever been confirmed or anything like that, of Halo Infinite being much more open world and very Halo Combat Evolved inspired, I wouldn't be surprised if you had to traverse the landscape of the game manually, either on foot or with a vehicle. And I would like to see kind of a traverse the map, and you would unlock points on the map to then either activate little side missions or that sort of thing. Then you'd have primary story missions, which would progress the expansion of the map, allow you to traverse new parts of the map after you complete the primary mission. The Pelican, that Brohammer, as these people are calling him, the Marine in the Discover Hope trailer, the Pelican that he's in could even serve as a form of fast travel later in the game, allowing you to travel to previous areas that maybe have since changed since you were last there. Say, after you've cleared out, say, created forces, whenever you go back to achieve some other objective, banished forces have taken over. Or, hell, like I said, possibly the Flood, or whatever. We'll see. The open world possible nature of the game might also allow for the introduction of RPG mechanics such as weapon customization, so scopes, extra magazines, changing the damage type, vehicle customization, which would be kind of neat. You could have the base, let's say to start with the Warthog, you'd have the base Warthog, you'd have your Warthog that you use to transport from area to area, and you could have it repaired at stations and stuff like that. You could choose to have a chain gun on it, or the Gauss cannon, or a rocket launcher, or some other new weapon that they could throw on the Warthog. That would be kind of neat. As well as armor mods, maybe? Honestly, kind of doubt that one, because the Master Chief having his iconic, well, Halo armor, his Mjolnir armor, that would, I doubt will have, like, armor customization. It would be cool, but I doubt it. Now, as far as, like, other stuff that I personally would like to see, like I mentioned earlier, I'd like to see a return of dual wielding. Seeing as how the Banished are returning, I would love to see a return of more traditional brute weaponry. So we could have the created and other created forces could have like normal plasma rifles, and then you'd have the Banished with either a brute plasma rifle or even like a banished plasma rifle that functions even a little bit differently from the brute plasma rifle. The brute spiker could make a return. I think it's a given that the brute spiker or some version of it will be a return, but I'd also like to see the brute mauler, brute shot, spike grenades, flame grenades, that sort of thing. I'd also like to see more kind of brute style weapons, like the brute, like a brute style carbine kind of weapon, like an upsized spiker that has the aesthetic of a spiker, but it more fits the DMR carbine battle rifle role, kind of a medium range weapon. Also like to see a brute style anti-armor weapon, because the brute shot's very good, and in Halo 2 is actually really powerful, but it's not really like, it's not a rocket launcher. I would like a brute style rocket launcher. Obviously you've got Gravity Hammer. I'd also like to see brute vehicles. There's a very good chance that we'll have normal Covenant vehicles, and we'll also have like banished Covenant vehicles, but I'd also like to see more brute vehicles, you know, Chopper, Prowler, see those return would be cool. Maybe a brutified version of, say, the Wraith, only instead of a plasma mortar, it's a giant artillery cannon that shoots in an arc. You know, kind of like basically a physical kinetic version of the Wraith, effectively. You can even have a kinetic version of the anti-air Wraith, where it's a giant series of rocket launchers. That would be cool. As far as sandbox gameplay, I'm seeing as how this is supposed to be a rumors open world style game. I think it would make sense for more larger large scale maps for multiplayer, and these would be great for invasion and big team battle and stuff that it definitely fell by the wayside in Halo 5. Halo 5's big team battle is very disappointing, and Warzone didn't really work out in my opinion. I'm not the biggest fan of Warzone. So anyway, moving on. Vehicles in multiplayer. The Cyclops Mark II from Halo Wars 2 would be a very fun set piece. It could be a set piece in one of the campaign missions where you have to use the Cyclops Mark II to fight your way through a horde of enemies and that sort of thing. If we're talking huge maps, you could bring in the Scarab and the Elephant, or not the Elephant, sorry, the Mammoth from Halo 4. You could have those two act as giant mobile bases over a large map, and the objective for each team would be to destroy the other team's base, as it were. And it'd have to make it so that destruction of it would be much more, be a lot more complicated than just get on board and blow up the core, because that wouldn't really work. That would be not very fun in my opinion. You could bring in some extra vehicles, such as the Cobra and the Banished Locust, or even just the normal Locust. Some of the vehicles from Halo Wars 2 would be cool. Halo Wars 2, Halo Wars, both of those games have awesome vehicles that would be amazing to pilot in a first-person shooter game. So, as far as other gameplay stuff, I would like to see a return of one-use equipment like what they had in Halo 3. You know, the bubble shield, power drain, flare, radar jammer, regenerator, etc. I think an interesting idea, although I doubt it, but it would be an interesting idea, would be some kind of utility grenade slot. Basically a grenade slot where instead of it being an explosive grenade, you'd have your normal frag, plasma, even spike grenade, and the Promethean grenade. That would be the 4 explosive grenades. You could then have a utility grenade slot, and these could include standard stuff, like a smoke screen, a flashbang, possibly. I know that's very Call of Duty-esque, I know. But you could also introduce the bubble shield. You throw it down, it creates a temporary shield that can save you from a massive rocket barrage that's heading your way, and there's no way to get out of the way. You could have it be the power drain, or it's a one-time EMP grenade that you throw it out and it detonates in a sphere, like basically a handheld version of the grenade launcher's grenade from Halo Reach, actually. And you could implement all sorts of these would also be stuff that you could equip in the open world, possibly open world nature of the campaign. Equip one at a base and use it for specific use in the mission. You could even use this slot to have mission-specific items, like say, the utility slot could also even be used for target designator, like also again from Halo Reach. As far as more armor ability type stuff, instead of having armor abilities or Spartan abilities, you could instead have a armor mod, armor upgrade slot that you would equip for specific missions in the campaign. This is how they would work in the campaign, in my opinion. And they would have limited uses. So you could have a jetpack which has limited fuel, and you could only say has like 60 seconds worth of fuel, so it could only burn for 60 seconds and then that's it. You could have a Jackal Gauntlet shield thing that can absorb a certain amount of damage before it fails, and then you'd have to get a new one or something like that. And these style of abilities you could then implement in multiplayer, not as like something that someone always has, like armor abilities or Spartan abilities, but instead have them be power-ups that you find throughout the map, very much like invisibility and overshield. So on a vertical map, you could have in the center of the map have a jetpack. That would be a power-up. If you get it, for a brief amount of time, it would give you a very distinct advantage over the other players. However, unlike Armor Village's Spartan abilities, it would be a temporary upgrade. And in that way, I think it would be a good way to introduce some more movement abilities. So you could have, like I said, the jetpack. You could also have the thruster pack, which would have a limited number of uses before it runs out of fuel or whatever. Although they might just have the thruster pack just in the base game anyway. I don't know. In my my wildest dreams for how Halo Infinite would go down would be fighting against created and banished forces in the beginning, with some UNSC forces as support, maybe even some Swords of Sanghelios forces from, you know, Halo 5 with the Arbiter. That would be cool. Then halfway through the game, the Didact could make his dramatic return, taking control of the Prometheans away from the created, leading to a four-way conflict between you, the banished, the created, and now the Didact. They could even throw in the Flood in the very late game, so it'd be a five-way battle. It would be... Honestly, as far as this game goes, the possibilities are endless, but I'm guessing it's going to be only the banished and the created that we're actually going to fight. Regardless of... that broke the speaker there for a second. Regardless of whatever happens, it will be very interesting. And I will be looking forward to the Xbox event on July 23rd. Alright, so, well, thank you, everybody who's listened all the way to the very end for my ranting and raving. Well, not really, just kind of throwing my thoughts out there. Thank you for listening. If you do like the video, please consider giving it a like, and comment your own thoughts, ideas, and theories down in the comments below. I would ask you to subscribe, but I make no promises of making consistent videos in the future, so yeah. I will be making a live, well, maybe not a live, but a reaction video to the Halo Xbox event, and possibly a thoughts video once I've had time to think about it, or maybe not, maybe just the reaction video. We'll see. I'll definitely be seeing you guys in the next video, which will be the Xbox event on July 23rd. And yeah, have a good night, stay safe, and peace out.